Well, hello there, how is everyone? I hope you're all well on this fabulous Thursday. It is actually Thursday today. And you know what we think of Thursdays. Thursday's that odd day where sometimes you think it's actually a Wednesday. Or you think Wednesday's a Thursday, like I did yesterday. So for those of you who depend upon me to enable you to know what day it is, my sincere apologies. But anyway, you're looking amazing, by the way. And this is video one of two. And later on the video we will be speaking specifically about Steve Gonsalves and his theory over a kill kit. Is that something that even could have played into this? So if you want to listen to my thoughts on that, come back to me later on. But today, this morning, look, two things I want to speak about. Firstly, I just want to speak about briefly the Richard Allen case, and that is that, look, there's split thoughts about this Richard Allen case. There's some people who are still adamant that Richard Allen is guilty, and look, Richard Allen could very well be guilty, 100% he could be. I think that for me, I weren't in this case right from the beginning. I caught up and I read absolutely everything there was to read about it, and I've read this entire 136 page release that's just come out. And I think if you are going to have a comment on the Richard Allen case, if you're going to speak about it, then you have at least got to read that documentation, 100%. You know, if you're going to make real bold statements and say, look, I believe that this guy did the crime, I think he's the person who did it, then yeah, you have 100% got to read this documentation, because again, for me, in the Richard Allen case, I never thought that this was a crime that he could have done on his own. You know, he literally, this is he set out and he done it this day, and he done it all himself. It doesn't, there's too many moving pieces in this that kind of on the peripheral. We know the Keegan Kline situation, the Snapchat messages or Instagram messages where he was posing someone else and telling the girls to meet him, so on and so forth. There was too many coincidences. There was too many people on the peripheral. It was almost like that these girls were coerced online. They were put into a situation where they would be in a specific place at a specific time, and the rest is history. And Richard Allen could have well been a part of that, 100%. The downside is the dark web exists. Whether people want to stick their head in the sand, whether they want to deny its existence, it exists. And even though this is horrendous, this truly is horrendous, and if you've read that 136 page doc, you will understand exactly what I mean by the horrendous nature of what is contained within those documents. That is the tip of the iceberg. There are some truly horrendous things that happen in this world, and go way beyond this case, and so heinous that a normal person's mind, the everyday person's mind, wouldn't even consider the sort of stuff that there is happening in this world. I'm telling you that now. So for this to be ritualistic in nature, for there to be a group of guys who coerced two girls, or one girl, but it just happened that two turned up, and for this to be this, you know, Odinism cult that did this, it's not as unusual as you may think, but it does open a can of worms when we're hearing, you know, where other children are going missing, like the Summer Wells case, and, you know, people in the background of that were talking about ritualistic sacrifices and things like that. People poo-pooed it. They were like, nah, that's tinfoil hat stuff. It's not always tinfoil hat stuff when you talk about things that seemingly seem like tinfoil hat stuff. These things do, like I say, exist. And the Richard Allen case, what do I genuinely think happened? I think that those girls were coerced online. They were coerced online, and they got to where they were on that day. Now, Richard Allen could be simply happenstance. I see a lot of people talking about the bullet in the gun, and I say, look, Richard Allen was there. He never denied being there. in terms of the timing. That was the issue. Now, Richard Allen said that he was there till what, 1:30, and I'm going back from memory. And, you know, this was, so he then leaves, and there was a corroboration of that story where someone had said that they were there at, what, 3:30 in the afternoon, and they had placed a different car there, a lone solitary car that didn't match Allen's, which I believe he had a Ford Focus. And, you know, that wasn't the car that was seen there. So, again, that is corroborating his story. So if the murders happened after 1:30 p.m, then his car wasn't there as corroborated by a witness. Now, like I say, I'm not saying that he is innocent of this. He could have been involved in the getting them to where they needed to be and corralling them to where they needed to be. Now, the weapon, the gun, could have easily been used to control the girls. And maybe the bullet that they found, the cartridge that they found, was where he is. Maybe he has done like a movie kind of. I'm going to cock this weapon to make it more frightening. This is what this weapon does, and this, you know, so it works. That kind of thing works. The issue is his cartridge being there doesn't mean that he's a murderer. It just means that this is an area where he frequented with this weapon, and at some point the bullet has been removed. Now, there could have been a clog, there could have been dirt in it, it could have been that he was messing about the gun and dropped it and just left it. Who knows? But it doesn't make him 100% a killer. There are still questions. And when you look into the intricacies of the girls themselves and what happened to them, and sort of trying to fathom how one person would have been able to do it if everything happened in order and in the stages of these 92, 93 pointers that the defense point out, you further and further, as you deep dive into those, you understand that it's very, very highly unlikely that this crime was committed by one person on their own. These girls were not stupid girls. We know that. They were incredibly clever, and, you know, the recording that they managed to capture, you know, things like this. And that, even that recording where people are saying that's definitely Richard Allen, it could have been Richard Allen. He could have interacted with them, who knows? And again, I'm not saying that this guy is innocent. What I'm saying is the feeling that this crime has always had is there is moving pieces to it, and this was a group of people, more than one person, and he could have been part of that group. At the moment, what we do know is there is nothing whatsoever connecting him to the group that even the FBI apparently felt that this was in connection to. So there would have to be a link. They would have to find that link, and maybe too much time has passed and they've ignored too many things to find that link. And had they have gone into this and looked at it right from the start, they would have found the links with which there would have existed back then that probably don't now, and you're not going to find now because so many years have passed. But, you know, this guy who, you know, is being hauled over the coals now, and, you know, Liggett, is it? Again, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. He needs to answer the questions that have been thrown at him. At the very, very least, he needs to have these questions put to him and answers to be given. We want, you know, justice is about getting justice, not about making someone be punished to satisfy our need for retribution, to see someone punished. And that's why in the Idaho 4 case, you know, I know loads of people think that we're just supporters of Brian, we're Brian lovers, you know, and, you know, I saw some comments yesterday, oh, you'd even be supporting Ted Bundy, and, you know, I'd made a comment about Russell Brand as well. You know, Russell Brand, and then what they'll do, they'll say Russell Brand is guilty of what he's been accused of, but then they will use examples of where he has been openly just been an arsehole. You know, being an arsehole, a sexist, a womanizer, utilising your power and fame and money to influence young girls to get with you doesn't necessarily mean that you're another thing. You know, it could do, but, You know, he still has to go through due process and be found to be guilty of doing that. It does have to happen. You know, why is things coming out now when Russell is now on to a platform like YouTube and he's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger very quickly and raising awareness to many things that maybe some organisations don't want there to be that much awareness of. And again, maybe I'm just a tinfoil hat wearing motherfucker, who knows? But I always want to see people go through due process and to be found that they are guilty of what they're being accused of 100% beyond a reasonable doubt before I personally condemn them in any way, shape or form. Once it's been proven, condemn them, condemn them, condemn them, condemn them. But until then, just have an open mind. Stop crucifying people and burning people at the stake prior to knowing that the person you're burning is the person who needs to be burned. And Richard Allen, he has suffered. Nobody can deny that. That guy has suffered. And he's suffered physically and mentally. And some people have quite rightly pointed out, they've said, look, is Richard Allen just suffering his own torment as he realises that he is guilty and he's got guilt of what he's done? And it could be that. Could well be that. It could be that he's now understanding what part he played in a situation and what that led to. But again, everybody involved in what happened to these girls need to be found and they need to be punished. No matter what badge they're hiding behind, what money they're hiding behind, what office they're hiding behind, everybody needs to pay. And what you generally find in these situations, when you're looking at dark web stuff and these ritualistic things and, you know, these real heinous things, this is power and this is money. Because people get bored and they realise that money doesn't just access you to buy nice things, it gives you access to a very dark world. And it's the most powerful and the most rich people who then start looking at what exotic things that their money is going to give them access to. And that's them dangerous motherfuckers who need stopping. So look, let me know down below. Are you innocent? Are you guilty, or are you part of a bigger picture with regards to Richard Allen? Let me know down below. Enjoy some of your Thursday. Continue looking amazing, and I will see you later for the kill kit video. Until then, love you all.